So let me take the opportunity to formally welcome all participants. I'm sure some more will join us as we go along. We had Dela, Agbo, CEO of Eco Capital, an investment and finance house, together with Maame Owusu-Arhin, who couldn't make it for unforeseen reasons. She has a finance background, but now is into technology, so she invests in her own technology companies that has a bearing on media and marketing. So we'll kick off with the fact that when it comes to challenger branding, like I said a moment ago, there's a new investor. There's a new investor who is looking for ideas, who is looking for the new technologies that would define our future in terms of business, society, even governments. So now we have e-government, we have e-commerce, we have e-church, and we have a lot of things that are new. And here we are all connecting from around the world. In the morning, we had our presenter from Johannesburg who came on from home because he's locked down in Johannesburg because of COVID-19. So all the more reason why it's important to talk challenger, not only because of technology's role, but because there's opportunity for new things to be started by new companies that are young. It is said that you do not need money to start, but you definitely need money to grow. And our theme for this workshop and this whole masterclass, Challenger Means Business, in an expanded way, is actually saying that challenger thinking means business growth. So when you apply challenger thinking to your business, you can actually grow it. But the only way you can grow it is when you have funding to support that growth. And so that's why we have you on to help us understand your space. And for the SMEs and micro businesses or startups that are on this call or would watch it later on Facebook, they need you to help them understand where the money, so that they can follow the money. They need you to help them understand how they should even behave after you've given them the money or some other investment firms have given them the money. How do they sustain their business? How do they grow even as they begin to get some funding coming through? So I have a few questions to shape the conversation for us this afternoon. So we're going to ask ourselves simple questions like, what types of business financing is readily available for funding growth in any category, for that matter? What types of financing is available? All right, Dela.
Okay, that's a good question. If you look at our setting in terms of, in Ghana, where I speak from, we have a challenge. The challenge is such that most of the investors that we have look for short-term investments. So they have excess funds, they are looking for short-term investments, and SMEs, most SMEs definitely need long-term funding. So there's a mismatch. So now when you're talking to entities that are obviously looking for funding, it's quite difficult to get a right funding source in Ghana to match those needs. That is why most of the SMEs in Ghana struggle. But from where I sit and a few people I speak to, there are quite a lot of opportunities in the IT area where few of my clients are quite interested in funding those projects because of the potentials. There are other areas that, for instance, when you look at the service business in Ghana, is not quite attractive for a lot of investors. The merchandising is also not quite attractive. But then manufacturing, we are not quite big on manufacturing because most of the manufacturing side are very small and most of them are more like sole proprietors where one-man businesses, and those businesses are not open to attract investors. You speak to most of those small SMEs, one-man businesses, one-woman businesses, they are not interested. But then I've seen a lot of activity in terms of the IT side where a lot of guys are coming up with solutions in the IT space, which is attractive, which is quite attractive to a lot of investors as I speak. But then the question is, you have to prepare yourself well enough to meet the right funding source. And the question is, where do you meet the funding source? A lot of people tend to go to the wrong places looking for the funding. For instance, if you go to a bank with a proposal which doesn't clearly define points, it's not quite attractive for the bank to enter because banks rely on liquidity. So you are running an IT solution, the turnover period, the duration is probably more than a year. So you're looking for a long-term funding. You need to make sure that you go to the right source to get the right results.
Fantastic. So you've actually taken us through the types and you've actually moved on to talk about where the money is so that we can go to the right place for the money. My next question was actually going to talk about the sectors. Which sectors you've actually mentioned one, which is the tech or IT side. Are there any other ones that are following suit after IT or technology?
That's a very brilliant question. For me, I've seen a lot of opportunities in agriculture.
Right.
You see, agriculture, and I've gotten a lot of proposal from outgrowers and other sectors, outgrowers. I've gotten an opportunity from, a proposal from a manufacturing company as well. I'm particularly interested in outgrowers, agriculture, such that the opportunities are quite huge. But you need a lot of patient funds because the seasons are not guaranteed. Okay. And then more so, the difficulty we have as an investment banker that I see most of the time in Ghana. I've not spent a lot of time in other countries, but I've spent time in Ghana and US. I've seen the challenge I've seen since I've moved back to Ghana is a lot of businesses are not properly registered, which made it so difficult for the fundings to come. So outgrower person coming to me for funding is running a sole proprietor. It's difficult for me to put money into sole P business, whereas I need the company to be registered well. The corporate governance has to be in place. So we have the opportunities in those sectors that I've mentioned, agriculture, manufacturing there's a lot of opportunities in manufacturing, but we are not paying a lot of attention to it because of the cheap importation that comes in. Okay. Then the IT side, because it's more towards providing a solution. So there's a lot of opportunities there. But again, it depends on the key players and then the leadership of those solutions and where they can attract funding from.
Right. Thank you so much. So next to tech is agri, which is not too surprising for our kind of economy. A lot of experts have said many times, is there an interest in funding mechanized farming, for example, or farming that is large scale? Just like you alluded to short-term, long-term perspectives, when it comes to agriculture, when you say outgrowers, what do you want to finance for them?
Good. A lot of people want you to pre-finance the farming activity. The challenge we have is a lot of farmers still farm just to feed themselves. There are quite a lot of opportunities in terms of funding, farming uh, products that can actually sell. However, because of the limitation in terms of funding, the issue is the funding. The challenge we have is there is always a big gap between the funding, availability of the funds and what is actually available. The availability is another issue, but actually getting access to it is another issue. I know government of Ghana has made efforts to come up with a lot of planting for food and agriculture and planning for food and jobs. The previous administrations, they've also come up with other job creation mechanism to attract people to go into farming. But still, we are not seeing the mechanized farming kind of we expect. We are still unable to feed ourselves based on the farm. We have quite a huge percentage of people in Ghana that claims they are into farming, but yet we still import a lot of food products outside Ghana. It then means that there's still a lot of opportunities there. We are not farming enough, largely because people still use manpower to do the farming. We are not investing into technology. We are not investing into equipment that can make the farming a lot more easier. So we still have a lot of opportunities there. The amount of imports of rice, other food products that comes to Ghana is in millions of dollars a year. So of course, we have a lot of farmers, but we are not farming in large scale, even to export to even the neighboring countries.
So we are talking about challenger brands. They are not limited to small. Big brands can also be challenger in their thinking and in the way they disrupt their categories. Look, the problem of importation is no longer an option or an issue of whether you have the dollars to import. Now, with COVID-19, borders are being closed, literally. Supplies are running out. Not only health supplies, food is going to be the next level, because food is not crossing as it used to cross. Manufactured goods are not going to cross like they used to cross. So are there big players who have the challenger thinking mindset, or there are not any big players in agriculture at all?
There are few big players, but it's still there is a limitation in terms of funding. The big players we have in Ghana are not, they are able to look at entities like Unilever and other companies that can readily offtake their products. They are now looking at retail sectors where they will produce and bring to market. So you see that when you go to the markets, you see local people going to bring in products from the farm gates to the market. The big players get the products to warehouse and supply to business. So you still see that the concentration is largely focused on the money. Who has the big butts to pay? If Unilever can pay good money in dollar terms, why should I come to a retail market and collect small money, whereas I can concentrate on the big cash, in order to grow? So we have a challenge in terms of that. But again, as we said, because of the issue that led to the lockdown with the virus and all this, has indeed given all of us a wake-up call, where now businesses in Ghana that are manufacturing alcohol are now changing their production line to making hand sanitizers. So we have now realized that it is now time for us to focus on building businesses that will be able to support our own local industries, making funds available for people to get the realization that long-term finance is the way to go. We have done for many years. One of the challenges we have, and I've seen in Ghana and maybe some of the surrounding African countries, is we have this issue of mismatch, where the short-term fund always go towards a long-term business. So people go in for this 91-day, 182-day funding to start a business of manufacturing, building a factory. By the time you lay the blocks, it's already 91 days. At that point, you need to start paying me back the loan. So it's quite difficult to fund this project. For me, what I want to say is to look at the angel investors, other investors that will, of course, will be patient for these businesses to grow and be able to do what? Start making money to pay back these facilities.
Thank you. I think you've dealt with the issues. So the businesses themselves, the challenger brands that we are trying to build and encourage to grow, what are the key considerations that they should know, like apart from knowing where to go and going to one place or the other? What are the key considerations, both from the formal sector as well as from the informal sector? Whether you're taking money from family, friends, or you're taking it from private equity firms and so on, for SME business or for the one-man business that you talked about, what are the key considerations that they should know about, that these are the considerations that you guys make?
That's a very good question. One of the stuff, there are many things, there are many considerations that banks, investment companies, in fact, before I address that, it's very important that we understand there are different, in terms of scale of funding, we need to understand that, as you've mentioned, we have equity, we have debt, we have grants. It's important that we want to understand that as a small business, you have two options largely to grow. You go with equity side, which you are giving ownership to somebody, or you take a loan, which is debt. And the debts too, you have to be mindful that you could either opt for unsecured or secure debts. And each one of them has its own merits. And you must be open-minded in terms of the objective that you are looking at. Now, if you are clear in your minds the direction of the business, the sector you are playing in, the opportunities that are available, you can opt out. Whether you are willing to go with equity option, which you giving share to an investor who is giving you money. Usually the first place you want to go to is family and friends. That's the first place you always want to go to.
Again, yes. let's grant it that people
Hello.
All right. Okay. Sorry. I think we had a little issue. You can continue. If you heard me, I'll try and share the screen again.
Okay. So the key consideration that we look at, it should be one, your current cash balance. So we want to see, we will assume that since the business is, you've already started a business, we want to see your current cash balance. So definitely your bank statement will be asked for. Then we want to see your upcoming capital expenditures, the upcoming capital expenditures that you have coming up. We also want to know your upcoming debts maturities, which debts that are currently upcoming for us to be aware of. Are they ongoing interest or dividend payments? We want to know of that as well. Operating cash flow of the business is very important because we need to know your operating cash flow. Are they current and expected interests? We want to also know that. Then also the risk tolerance. The investor is also mindful of the risk that is willing to take, and whether there are collaterals you have to secure the transaction or not. Those also we want to know that. And then we also want to be mindful of the capital market condition, because whatever that is happening in the market determines. As it stands now with everything, the uncertainty of the market is quite difficult now for anybody to want to be putting a liquid cash into any fixed asset or anything that will lock that. So we want to be mindful of the market conditions also. Then for us also, we are mindful of the investors' expectation. We, the investors, once we give you money, we are now part of you now. So you want to be mindful of our expectation. How well can you handle our expectation? Are you willing to be transparent? Are you willing to implement our recommendations? In some cases, some may want to be on your board. Some may want to be nosing around a lot more to find out how you are using cash, whether you are using cash well or not. Are you diverting cash? We want to know all that. So those are some of the considerations that we consider.
No, so in an era of a virus pandemic, things become the scrutiny probably gets even tighter on businesses, especially young businesses that are very vulnerable, unlike the big ones. So what are the new skills that SME operatives and owners should develop in terms of managing their finances in the kind of times we are in?
I think we just have to be one of the skills that I think that they need to develop will be that they need to also learn to diversify in terms of not exposing themselves to just one source of supply chain. One of the challenges I've observed during this time is entities that have sole supply source from China are now stranded. We've seen that they can't get their raw material or products from the source. So you need to look for a lot more suppliers to make sure that you are not exposed to just a single source. Okay, you also want to make sure that at all times we need to be as liquid as possible. A lot of people generate revenue and all they do is push those revenues back, 100% back to the business, without thinking that it's also important that you should invest some of those monies into liquid assets. When I say liquid assets, it should be assets that can be sold quickly to be converted to cash. So you want to be mindful of that. And I think it's very important that you are able to build processes that can easily be changed or amended during times like this, where there is bureaucracy. It's quite difficult to maneuver in difficult times like this, where you need to change plan, change strategies in difficult times like this.
Thank you. So what I hear you say is that you need to be agile, even in finance considerations in terms of running the businesses. I'd like to give the opportunity to participants to ask a question or two if there was something they wanted to ask that was not part of my list of questions that I had for us, or maybe just discuss a point or two, or bring something to the fore for us all to deliberate on. So anyone has something on their mind regarding finance or funding their growth apart from branding?
Okay, question. Question. So with what is happening right now with the pandemic, yes, I believe that it's really slowed a lot of things down. But oddly enough, in certain businesses, even especially with the ones in the technological area, it's actually like the perfect time. Where do are investors able to see these things? Even though for certain areas there may be crisis, but in terms of financial or health, but in the grand scheme of things, are investors able to see and pinpoint certain opportunities that actually may require like urgent, immediate attention in terms of seasonal opportunity? That's all I wanted to ask.
Okay, so Dela, I hope you got a question.
No. Can you repeat that again, please?
Okay, so in a time like this where we have a virus floating around, there are obviously many businesses with the financial meltdown that's happening outside. There are many businesses that are going to suffer, but then again, I feel like there are also opportunities that will arise out of times like this that are really big, fast opportunities. My biggest question is, are investors capable of seeing these types of opportunities in light of whatever financial crisis or whatever pandemic that has arisen?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yes, investors have money, but then it boils down to SMEs, business owners to tap into these opportunities. But as you said, with the virus going out, yes, of course, it slowed down a lot of things, but it has also created a lot of opportunity for other business in other sectors. Right now, if yes, you'll be making a lot of money during this time because there's a lot of demand for healthcare products, hand sanitizers, face masks, all those. So immediately
If our investor arrived
if my SM come to me and then
Please go on. I think I've
yes.
muted.
So you are a SME, you come up with a business proposal now that listen, I've been doing this business in healthcare sector for X number of years, and with this, I need X amount to produce more volumes. As an investor, I'll be excited to put money in it because I know that is what the opportunity is as we speak. But then if my job is just to sell money. So I can see the opportunity, but I don't have the expertise to really go now and be doing hand sanitizers or that. It is a good time for me to get a proposal from somebody who can do hand sanitizers and have me look at his business model and fund it accordingly. So SMEs, they should be taking advantage of times like this and be running to investors like us for funding to expand their businesses and make more money.
Right. Thank you so much. Any other questions? We wrap up the funding workshop and move on to marketing. Okay, so thanks so much, Mr. Dela, Echo Capital. I think you've done justice to the theme and the purpose of the workshop or the discussion. I think that is only a beginning. There's probably more that we can do as a follow-up to the workshop. You can remain with us as we go through the marketing section as well. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Indeed, it's a good time for us to talk about this. Indeed, there's a lot of opportunities in Africa, for that matter, Ghana, and other African countries. I was in Togo recently. I've seen the same amount of opportunities I've been seeing every day in Ghana. And I believe that if we can actually match the funding to these opportunities, we can do very well and decrease our dependency on foreign imports and be able to grow this continent as well. So thank you very much for this. And I believe that we all learn from this and expand our businesses. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. So that takes us to marketing. Apart from money, we also need to be able to understand the marketplace, the structure of the economies, product distribution, production, products that are required. There's a lot of talk about hand sanitizers. What do you do when an opportunity like this lands and you just get into it? Apart from money, you need to make sure you have a story to tell. You have clear marketing strategies that can make your brand grow and sustainably grow in the long term. So I would like to call on our resource persons. I mean, they're both marketing people, but with expertise. Dede has a background in insurance, but is chartered a member of the CIMG. Maximus actually is a professional digital expert, and digital marketing is his area. Probably start with you, Maxi, because you are in business, as it were. We're sitting here connecting with each other across Africa, at least, to discuss this. And it's all looking very seamless. It's not perfect, but it's looking very seamless the way it's going.
Yeah.
We're all locked down in one way or the other, if not even fully locked down.
Right.
The advice we get, and by our own sense of caution, we're keeping to our houses or our offices. We're not mixing other people. Technology has a big part to play, and digital marketing, for example, is going to grow phenomenally, or has started showing that potential already. So what are the key drivers for you? We have identified from our book that the whole golden age of challenger brands that we talk about is because of some structural changes that has happened, from production to distribution to a whole marketing possibilities with digital marketing and the talent. There's just the abundance of talent, young talent for that matter. And then what we just finished talking about, the angel investors and the new type of investor that is looking for startups to invest in and so on. So I want you to just tell us about digital and tech.
Right. Greetings to everybody who is watching, and I'm very excited about this particular masterclass, the virtual edition, right? So we have been presented with the right opportunity to virtualize our traditional way of doing business. And really, technology has been prompting us all these years, to be able to strike a balance between how we do businesses virtually and also physically. Now, with the coronavirus, social distancing, and cities being on lockdown, a lot of people are now virtualizing their lifestyle. So people are now ordering food, online, and then the delivery vans go to their physical location using their digital addresses or Google Maps so they can deliver the product to them. Amazon is employing over 100,000 people to be able to meet some of the demands from their customers. So tech is presenting us with the right opportunity. And of course, if your business used to be very traditional, then you have a big problem in this particular time, because it's going to take you some time to be able to, adjust to this moment where you don't have a website, an email, a social media channel, or you don't have your search engine optimized. You don't even have a Google Map presence. Now people can't find you. You don't have maybe the email addresses of your customers, or you don't even have their contact numbers, so you can even send them SMS or WhatsApp messages because you cannot meet them physically. Now they cannot also order products from you because you don't have any virtual storefront, so they can't even place an order to even have their product delivered to them using the third-party delivery companies or a courier service. So for me, this is a call to businesses who are not tech-driven, that they should have a way of building a second image of their business using technology solutions, so they can be ready for times like this. Because where we are heading as a world, right? The super highway is digital. Virtual is becoming the new actual, because now hitherto we should be meeting physically, discussing masterclass in a nice hotel and all that, so we can eat food after that or network, physically. Now we can't do that because of the challenge that we have. So this is a clear, situational opportunity for businesses to look at transforming their businesses using digital technology.
Fantastic, fantastic. So
yes.
I'll bring Dede in. I'll come back to you. But as we talk about lockdowns and virtual becoming actual and all that, talent, okay, I've said that there's an abundance of talent, but now the talent cannot work physically everywhere. They have to work virtually. Or if they're in a particular country and there are opportunities in that country, and people are needed physically, by all means, for some reason, there is opportunity now for those who belong to that geographical territory to take those opportunities and not have other people come take them. What kind of mindset should a challenger brand or a challenger business, what kind of mindset should an owner of an SME begin to have around talent? Dede? I'm not sure we have Dede's mic on.
Hello.
Okay, hi. We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for the question. For a challenger brand, we would need to look at a change in mindset. A change in mindset because we are used to being at geographical locations and getting things done. And like Maximus has said, it has become necessary for us to reorient ourselves and therefore look at the opportunities out there and then take advantage of technology for that matter. So it becomes necessary for us to train and then have this change of mindset and therefore get ourselves well equipped for that matter. One key thing is that most of the time startups suffer from the kind of human resource, the right human resource to be able to deliver. But it is high time we invest in the right human resource with the right capabilities so that they will be able to deliver and help us to go to the next level. Anything doesn't go, it shouldn't be anything goes. No, we should be ready to, invest in people for that matter, because they are those who would be moving our institution or the organization to the next level. So it becomes necessary for us to have a reorientation and take advantage of the technological opportunities all around us. Indeed, currently there are a lot of courses we can take advantage of online to be able to know the kind of things that we would need to equip ourselves with to be able to become marketable and also deliver on the job for that matter. Competition is all over, true, but sometimes we focus too much on competition. We need to look out for what our competitors are not doing rather than focusing on their competition. And once we have the right people in place, we would realize that they would be able to deliver and take advantage of these opportunities.
Right. So coming back to Maximus and around talent, you find out that now, quite a part of mindset, you need some skill sets to be able to survive. So in a country like Ghana, unlike a place like US where they are now talking about unemployment rates going up and so on, we have huge unemployment problems already. And so on top of that, with COVID-19 and the fact that not many people have been properly skilled in areas of the use of technologies and tools, there must be definitely some action, some movement of how we look at training people. And so what are the opportunities that exist for training, even virtually?
Yeah, so for example, of course, this particular setup is one example of that. So you can create virtual classrooms where you can educate people about how they can adopt technology or use technology, or even upgrade their professional skills using digital marketing, insights and tools to be able to do their business. For me, this particular time, sifts or selects the kind of skill sets that you have. And if you don't have any technology background or any technology skill in your basket of competence, I'm sure you'll be left behind, you'll be found wanting. So for schools, for churches, for businesses, they should be thinking about using tools like the Zoom and social media and websites and any other digital media tools to be able to reach out to their customers or target audience or congregation, right? So now your Facebook page has become your congregation. Your Facebook page is now your customers. Your Facebook page is now your digital constituency if you're a politician. So people need to develop that skill set, whether you'll be needed in the implementation side or you are the one in charge of the channel. So even channel owners must have an understanding that times like this will always present themselves, and then we must always be ready. And then those who will be needed in terms of labor, they should also have the relevant skill set. So when situations like this come, they will be readily available. And then, if of course, they'll be in high demand. People know a lot of friends who do streaming and digital marketing service providers who are in high demand right now, and they cannot even meet the demand because they can't be everywhere at the same time. But they are also educating people virtually. So they are making video calls and engaging a team of digital media people in churches, in businesses, and all over the place. So we must be skill ready when it comes to the technology competence. We must all have that. It should be a universal skill. It should just be like the way we all speak English. Technology must be our new language.
Fantastic. You always put it nicely. I mean, technology must be our new language. I mean, if you don't know a certain language and you are in a certain place that they speak that language, you'll be lost. You'll be denied the benefit that exists in that space, right? So yes. when we talk about talent again, for example, we talk about products and services, and the service industry. The finance man talked about the service industry and how delicate it be. But in a market like ours, I mean, GDP growth is driven more by service industry than manufacturing, right? And in a time like this, with technology at the center, the services industry must come into its own again and begin to help drive our economic growth more than ever. So I'll come back to Dede to talk about service. Having so much experience in insurance with the service industry, looking at it like the way we look at products and looking at people, the services that they provide to customers, the skills and the mindset change that is required for that service to become a packaged product, as it were, for people to choose over your competitors. Because that's the only way. You must produce something or present something that changes the game, that makes you become the go-to person or the one that is in demand, both at the individual level and at the enterprise level. So I'd like you to help us understand what do you see changing, or what should change in the way people provide their services in this kind of times that we are in.
Thank you very much. Certainly, with technology, once again, it has become a game changer, and therefore it is necessary that service providers look at how they can reach their clients technologically. And this calls for, you're looking at sales and marketing, you're looking at reaching your clients, and then also making them take advantage of technology, and therefore delivering on time and delivering with quality as well. So it will become necessary for us to have all the needed tools, technological tools as organizations, to be able to reach our clients so that they can be able to, meet us, or we are able to meet them in real time, provide services for them in real time. If you talk about insurance, for instance, people who will be making claims, which is ultimately why they would insure, would want to go online and fill in their claim forms, and then the insurance company will be able to get back to them in real time. You're also looking at even taking up the insurance policies, for that matter. We should get to a place where people complete their proposal forms online, and then within a matter of minutes, and the policies are underwritten, and then they get their policies done. And so we are looking at moving at a certain pace and also ensuring that we are satisfying our customers. Time is of real essence here, and customer satisfaction is also very key here. So we need to put in place all the needed tools for our salespeople to be able to reach our clients, appropriately deliver, and provide the needed customer service. Follow-ups would also should be done in that direction as well, where customers can give us feedback and also find out whatever they would need to know at every given point in time. So once again, back to competition, we are looking at companies that would be able to satisfy their customers in real time and also deliver on their promises, which should ultimately be the game changer.
Great. So there you have it. It's key that we have the right kind of talent as well to shape that product delivery, even if it is a service that you are producing. Now, Maximus, I want to bring you in on AI, for example, and its impact in terms of services like insurance, banking, the role that artificial intelligence, or what we call machines, they are not human beings. They can work on hours on ending to deliver far and above in terms of efficiency than human beings. So where does the human being have a cutting edge or an advantage over AI, for example, in the service delivery?
That's quite a tough question. I'm sure maybe 5 years ago would have been easier answering that particular question, because now machines have been able to learn at least the skill sets or the thinking or the mindset of human beings. So it becomes very easier for machines to interact with you, right, seamlessly and more intelligently. So machines can customize products and services for you on the go in real time. And using the insurance example, like I always use the lemonade, the USA example. They've built an insurance engine, right, using AI on the mobile phone. So you can register, you can get an insurance just using your phone, talking to an AI assistant, and then bingo, you are done. If you want to retrieve or get your claims paid, use the same medium, within 8 seconds, everything is done. Now, AI is becoming the new workforce, and businesses are going to adopt that. And really, with this particular situation, can you imagine AI in manufacturing? Every machine is automated, nobody is needed. AI is running a bank branch, for example, where you can do transactions and pay bills, make money transfer, everything done by AI on your phone, and no human being is needed. Now, the only time the human being is needed is to correct defects of the AI processes, and this is usually very small and minimal, right? If human beings becomes like the redundancy, what do you call it, a setup where when the machine doesn't function well, then the human beings come in to resolve that issue. The other advantage human beings have over the AI is the fact that we can, plug our emotions into negotiations and transactions, so people can feel the empathy, in the way you deal with them. And AI is trying to build that, right? So for me, that's the advantage, the physical, emotional communication context that we have over AI is what to put us at least above that for some time.
No, that's heartwarming a bit, because thinking about it, the times we are in, it's very scary. The AI doesn't have any reason to fear COVID because they can't be infected by virus.
Exactly.
Virus that can infect them is the other virus on the computers. So the human beings can go and debug the computers from home, I guess. So
yeah.
So it really makes our position as humans a bit weaker, considering the environmental impact of disease and climate and all the things that are coming against us from nature. Yeah. So
Right.
I'd like to go out of the screen sharing mode for us to look at each other and have a conversation for the next 10 minutes or so and wrap it up.
Okay.
Just pick questions that I may not have asked from participants that have been on the call with us. It may be related to your business. It may be related to your personal interests. It may be related to industry categories or even governance. So we talk about the role of technology, for example. We talk about the role of brand building and marketing. So let's have the questions come through and let's have a conversation. Any questions for Maximus on digital marketing, social media marketing, the use of artificial intelligence, for example?
I think somebody within the chat, it's a great opportunity for remote professionals and tech-savvy entrepreneurs, but some businesses still remain predominantly physical. Vehicle servicing. So the person is asking about vehicle servicing in this time. And I'm sure we just pray that there won't be a total lockdown, because everything will become immobile, so you can't even move your vehicle. And the fact that even the virus survives on surfaces is also presents a challenge. So if you are a vehicle services provider, now how do you make sure that when my vehicle is serviced, there will not be any infection? Will you even present maybe a test certificate to prove that you are not infected with the virus? So for me, this particular situation is quite dicey for people who offer services like the vehicle. And of course, if you want to pick up my vehicle in my house, I have to trust you. There must be a customer trust. Maybe I should be a subscriber to that particular service, so you can send a driver to my house to pick up this vehicle. And of course, you observe the social distancing, and then you take my vehicle and go and service it and bring it back. But how do you ensure that the vehicle doesn't become a vector of the virus? So for me, I think we should just pray that the time for this particular lockdown or social distancing and then the ban of social gathering will become a thing of the past, so people can service their vehicles, because really a lot of people won't be moving around, so they may not even need their vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, there can be challenges in that whole category. Earlier today, I was listening to the BBC interviewing the CEO of Daimler in Germany, one of the topmost luxury category brands in the world, and talking about how their category is going to see a drop in sales because of what is going on globally, where lockdowns. So many categories are going to take a lot of hit, and so there's a need for agile approaches to doing things. So you have to add health services, for example, to that kind of automobile service that you're providing to reassure the person, certify that the vehicle, after you have returned it, is not infected. And you have to raise the game to that level. So there can be so many examples in so many sectors. Courier, all sorts of sectors would need health expertise added to reassure consumers that their products and services are safe for protecting their health. If there are other questions, let's have them. We'll be wrapping up in the next 7 minutes. So,
and I think. All right. Hello. This is okay. Enoch again. So my question is this: when it comes to finding strong marketing marketers or digital content providers, or let's just say designers here in Ghana, what would be like some good places to really find that level of value, especially during this crisis that's happening?
That's a great question, right? I'm sure this particular session presents with the opportunity. For me, I think you should be able to push some of these opportunities on your digital channels if you have them. If you don't have them, then it becomes a challenge too as well. So you have to ask people within that industry. And as a business, if you have a digital media plan or a strategy, at least you know what you want to do, you know the objectives you want to achieve, and of course the KPIs that you want to also make sure you follow to achieve those objectives. So you know the kind of skill sets you need, whether you need a copywriter who will make sure you write marketing language instead of English language in your text, right? You need to have the right people to do your video for you, to even do your artworks and all that, how to make sure that the artworks are treated for digital channels so that you have an artwork where you have a lot of text on it. Facebook says your artworks must have 20%, text, and the rest should be visuals. The skill sets, it is dependent on the objectives you want to achieve as a company, whether you want to drive conversation. So it means that you are going to look for people who can converse around your brand or tell story around your brand. If you're looking for maybe video content to drive it, how are you going to do that? You need very creative video producers to do that. If you need influencers to drive your community, you must also understand how influencers connect with your brand values and be able to pull in the right target customers that you want. So depending on your objectives and then your KPIs, you should be able to have an idea of the kind of skill sets you need in a digital marketer to achieve that.
Yeah, but my question is, where can I find that here in Ghana? Do you guys have any idea where, soon as someone...
Yeah, if you talk to Bright, I'm sure you can get some of us. You talk to me, I can get you some of the people within that particular space, because some of us work with a lot of those people.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So, any other question? Be it on talent, maybe career or marketing, Dede, you can pick up. All right. So we've actually had. All right. Somebody's probably asking a question. Yes. Let's hear. Yeah.
Yes, I'm Elsie, and I also wanted to add that I liked what Magnus also indicated, because very often than not, people make a lot of requests regarding their digital marketing communication, but they don't really have a clear focus. Most because everybody is doing it, they also want to do. So for a digital person like me to assist you, the very first thing we have to do is to understand the type of audience, what is the end game that you need to achieve, so that it can be well crafted. Very often, everybody is doing everything, And at the end of the day, you can't actually check the value proposition of most of the things that we do. So I think that with all these diseases and everything that is coming on board, it also creates opportunities for all marketers and everybody within the digital space to make sure that we educate people so that they can maximize the use of these platforms. Because at the end of the day too, because we are using data, it can be quite expensive if it's not well channeled.
Brilliant.
Great. Okay, so thanks so much for the time, everyone. We've had a great day. The morning session with David Blythe was very cool and so much learning, but it's only the beginning. Masterclass would continue by PhD. Challenger thinking push in terms of thought leadership would continue to do that, because for us, the way we see it is for us to grow disproportionately, for us to grow out of the ordinary, not the usual 5%, 6%, for us to post double-digit growth as businesses and challenge the big or market leaders if we're not the market leader. Or even if you're market leaders, challenge the whole category and redefine the category and innovate in that space. Get ahead of the curve. You need a challenger mindset. You need to be passionate and obsessed with growing and using the right approaches to grow. So we will continue to champion this and do a lot more thought leadership and training. I had 10 laws of challenger thinking or challenger branding to do. I couldn't do that, but with technology right now, we could do this every fortnight. And so we will put a communication out and create awareness. And the next time we'll come on, we'll delve into what I call the science of challenger branding and challenger thinking. What are the things that are common to all the brands that are growing disproportionately around the world, whether they are market leaders or startups? What are the things that they do right? What are the things that when we also do, we can follow their footsteps? So in the COVID-19 era, you want to make sure you survive. That's why the finance guy had to come in as well. You want to make sure you don't die, not only as a human being, but also your business does not die. If you survive, the lessons you learn just by the fact that you were able to survive will be the reasons why you tomorrow thrive and become a market leader or dominate your category. So it's important to, within this time, hone the skills of survival. Not only for you to make profit, but to survive. You first have to be alive to be able to do things tomorrow. So that's how passionate we have to become about it. Just like we protect our lives, our dear lives, we need to protect our businesses, our enterprises. We need to protect our ideas and make sure we infuse them with the kind of challenger thinking and challenger approaches and behaviors that would make sure that we survive and don't die. So that's, in terms of keynote to wrap up, what we will say. And thank you so much for making this happen. Without you, there would have been no company to be able to have this discussion and to be able to start this virtual, actual format for the masterclass. And so this is the new normal. We have actually, like I said this morning, beaten COVID-19 to it. We were supposed to have this event at the International Conference Center. And we had to quickly change our mind 3 weeks ago that that wasn't going to be a good prospect. And we were right when we shifted the whole idea online, because the experts said that this disease was going to spread. The experts also said that this is going to be a high infection rate, low death rate, meaning that it's going to be here for a while. So you have to have a long-term view. That long-term view is the reason why you have to survive today, because you know tomorrow there will be something that you want to catch or you want to do. So that's the whole focus. Grow. You're not growing because you just want to grow. You're growing because that's what you need to be able to even survive and be there to become a leader tomorrow. So thank you so much once again. On behalf of PhD Worldwide, on behalf of Eat Big Fish, our partners, we want to say that we would continue this quality, this kind of approach, this kind of thought leadership that we have begun. And tell your friends to tell their friends and to tell their colleagues in businesses, whether it is their personal brand that they want to build or it is their businesses that they want to build sustainably. They should continue to look out for our masterclasses and be part of it. Thank you and have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Let's stay in touch. Let's keep in touch. We'll reach out to you and make sure we make it happen.
Right. See.
Bye.
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 Okay. Bye.